Hi, my name is William Peeler, and this will be a presentation about my moral code and moral mission for Keuka College. My mission is to simply be good and to stay strong that being good means something. And the search for that good is part of being good. And morality and being good is a very subjective thing. It means different things to different people. So searching out for what good is and how good and morality is defined is part of being good. If you cannot connect with the people that you live and work with and socialize with and be around, you will become a separate thing from those people and from that ecosystem, and you're not going to be able to connect with those people, and you won't know what's good. You can't simply just be good and never change. That's not going to work. I mean, that was clear when we read Man for All Seasons about Thomas More. Thomas More was a rock, and he didn't change, and his world was changing around him, and he died for his beliefs. He died for his love and devotion to the Catholic Church. Thomas More, he was very witty. That's okay. I believe Charlie Manson was also said to be very charming. So being witty doesn't really qualify you as a wonderful person. So and those morals are going to change, and morality is going to change, and the idea of what is good is going to change. So searching and being open for what that good is and what it means is part of being good, and that is my moral mission. It's really to be flexible, and that doesn't mean to have no beliefs or no foundation, but flexibility and being open to change is very important to me, in my opinion. So I'm going to thank my dad. Number one, my dad is probably my moral compass. Thank my mom. My mom is also a big influence on what I believe is right and taking a stand. My mom, I believe, has much more impact in my mind as how she would take a stand for her beliefs. And though she did it often at the perils of her reputation, she still did it. And that's important to me, that she still took that risk for her beliefs in certain situations. I remember growing up. I want to thank my sister. She's only a year younger than me, and she's given me a wonderful perspective while growing up with her on the other side of the human condition, which is the female condition and the female concerns, and her perspective as a young woman while growing up. I haven't really paid attention to anyone else's presentation, so I'm not quite sure if this is going to be a common occurrence or possibly if I'm the only kook. But I also want to thank all the jerks I've ever met. I really want to thank these awful people that I've come in contact with that gave me what Badaracco, or Badaracho, does anyone know how to pronounce his name? Badaracho. Two C's, I would say, is ch in Italian, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe one C at the beginning, like ciao, I don't know. But Badaracho, what he said was, sometimes you get the gift of pain. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I think all of my ethics, all of it, not some of it, but all of it, has come from the painful moments in my life where I've been able to kind of bank them in, store them and process them in my mind, and then ask myself, hindsight, if I can find a correlation between present events and past events that were very unpleasant, and say, how can I make, I've seen this before, or even more importantly, I see this coming. how do I make sure that doesn't go the way it did before? Or how do I get out of the situation or move around the situation before I get entrenched in it like I have been before? You know, or even more importantly, how can I possibly come to the aid of someone or come to the aid of the situation before it escalates? So Badaracco is a professor of ethics. He has an agenda. Every single one of the literary examples he uses in his book probably could be interpreted one way or another. His interpretation of all those things, ethically speaking, though educated, is still his opinion. And I don't agree with everything he says, and I do agree with some of the stuff he says, but more importantly, I don't let go of myself while reading that. You know, my morals are not so fickle. I've got, 40 years under my belt, and my morals are not so fickle or malleable so that one person's, short book about his literary take on morality is going to shake that foundation. It might have. I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I read it. But there were certain things that he really kind of glazed over. Even the section about Thomas More being really intolerant of what he called heretics, or we call that religious freedom in our country, but they called that heretics back in England. And in one sentence, Badaracco says, though Thomas More would have gladly sent heretics to the stake, proceed with complimentary evaluation of his morals. Now, sending someone to the stake literally means sending them to be executed by burning at the stake. Yeah, Thomas More was a hero to a very unique group of people. So if you consider Thomas More a hero, just remember he sentenced people to burn at the stake. It's history. I'm not making this up. And Badaracco mentioned it with one sentence. He didn't dwell on it. He kind of was like, yeah, I know this, but I'm going to skip over it because it doesn't really support my evaluation and example of Thomas More as a beacon of morality. It doesn't. I mean, no, it doesn't. The Catholic Church wasn't ready to die for him. I think this is the last time we'll do a presentation for this course. So I just want to thank all of my wonderful classmates for sharing all of your stories and sharing pieces of yourself with all of us, because morality is, in my opinion, connecting with other people. Morality is empathy. Morality is the opposite of nihilism. Nihilism is I'm a huge nemesis to nihilism. I don't believe there can ever be a shortage of caring in this world. I want to thank Diane, our instructor. Fantastic experiences reading your comments on my papers, and just the insight you provided and help with all of the formatting. And thank you, and that wraps up my presentation for MGT 515 Business Ethics.